It's not real. This is like nonsense. They're playing games.
In this video, I'm taking you on a trip to Ford Motor Company's national Canadian headquarters in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, for some big news in electric vehicles. I'm Josh West, and this is Josh West 24/7. I'm a 15-year veteran of Legacy Automotive and a top performer in the field, and I've seen that Legacy Automotive is in big trouble. But when I see a glimmer of hope, I give it the attention that it deserves. Let's take a closer look.
All right, so here we are in Oakville, Ontario. I'm here at the Ford assembly plant, which is just west of Toronto. There's big news just been announced. Ford has actually signed the largest deal in automotive Canadian history, almost $2 billion, $1.8 billion deal to transform this massive facility into an electric vehicle manufacturing facility where they're also going to assemble battery packs. Currently, this plant spits out only internal combustion engine vehicles, the Lincoln Nautilus and the Ford Edge, which are both midsize SUVs, but that's all going to change with the signing of this new deal. There are 5 new electric vehicle models planned for Ford. This plant, once it's fully transformed, will have an annual production volume of about 300,000 units. There's 5 new Ford electric vehicle models planned for this facility, and it will no longer be producing internal combustion engines. This is big news for the local economy here, especially in Ontario, where it will be adding 3,000 new jobs to the local economy. Having been an Ontario resident for a long time, this is kind of a big deal, and so that's why I'm down here to bring the news to you firsthand. The timeline conversion of this facility is around 6 months, and it is fully backed by both the federal and provincial governments here in Ontario and Canada, respectively. Now, as they transition the factory, there will be a lot of workers laid off, obviously, as they do construction and convert all the machinery and tooling and all of that sort of thing. However, those workers are supposed to be back to work by the end of the year, being 2023. Now, Ford has a plan to produce by 2026 2 million electric vehicles annually. The importance of this facility here is that it's the first existing internal combustion engine facility, a place that manufactures gas or diesel vehicles, that's being converted completely cold turkey to only electric vehicles. Now, this is an aggressive move, only when you compare it to the likes of Stellantis, Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, or even GM. Now, if you compare it to Tesla, obviously they're not as quick or not as aggressive or what have you. But again, for a legacy auto brand, you do need to give Ford a little bit of credit because they're actually doing something when the other companies seem to be just making a lot of promises. The plant here in Oakville is Ford's first high-volume transformation of a facility that makes internal combustion engine vehicles. Now will be making exclusively electric vehicles. On the side of the largest building here in the compound, they have a huge poster of a Ford Lightning. And I guess what it is more symbolic than anything else. Obviously, they don't build the Ford Lightning here, but it is saying that this plant will be producing exclusively fully electric vehicles. Not hybrids, not plug-in hybrids, full BEV electric vehicles. Now, this facility, once transformed, will not only produce vehicles, but it will be assembling battery packs. Now, the cells themselves and the battery arrays are going to be coming from Kentucky. Ford has a huge battery facility down there that produces the cells and are going to be shipping them up here. Now, vehicles that will be produced here should be coming in for the 2025 model year once they get all the kinks ironed out and the new models announced and the tooling and everything else changed over. So expect to see electric vehicles exclusively coming out of this Oakville plant in 2025. Now, Ford hasn't announced yet which models these will be, although Ford has announced that they are looking at making a new electric pickup truck, a smaller pickup truck from my understanding. Again, these are all rumors right now, so there is a possibility we may see a compact or mid-sized pickup truck that's fully electric coming out of this plant, maybe along the lines of the Ranger or the Maverick or something along those lines, although we don't know. It's all speculation at this point, but it's going to be exciting nonetheless. I think Ford's on the right track. They're doing something, they're taking action, and compared to some of these other legacy brands, I can tell you that they're just sitting on their laurels and they're not really doing anything, and they're going to get left behind. And the reality is that once these vehicles hit the market, customers are going to snap them up. I mean, there was a huge waiting list for the Ford Lightning. Dealers were able to get way over list price of this vehicle, and they're still sold out production for the foreseeable future. Huge demand for electric vehicles. It's not going away. The wave is here. The transition is happening, and I think it's great to see electric vehicles that are going to be built right here in Ontario's own backyard. Now, Ford has some huge hurdles to overcome when they want to make big moves like this. And they are always dealing with their unions, and of course, part of being in Legacy Auto. So one of the biggest mountains that they were able to climb and conquer was signing this deal with over 4,200 members of the local union, the Unifor organization. So that's exciting news. The bottom line is these people know that they need work moving into the future, that gas cars are going away, and they need to embrace electrification. Yes, there'll be some new skills that they need to learn and some improvements as far as education and things like that, but that's par for the course. We're in a time of massive transition for the automotive industry. So without a doubt, this is the right move on the part of Unifor. I can tell you that, again, it's a big burden for Ford, but at least these guys are being somewhat amicable. They did wait until the last hour to sign the deal, to pen their signatures and all that sort of thing, but that's kind of par for the course with these guys. That tends to be what they do. They want to hold out to the last minute. They're just trying to get everything that they can out of the deals. So we'll see what happens as time goes on. We'll see how the deal works out financially for Ford. Ford is the first OEM, the first legacy OEM that has broken out separate numbers for its electric vehicle sales and manufacturing and costs and that sort of thing. They're very significantly in the red right now. They're losing a lot of money for every single vehicle, every single electric vehicle that's sold right now. But my opinion on this is this, actually. Let me share this with you. So if you compare with a company like Stellantis, who has all of 0 electric vehicles for sale right now, a company like Stellantis is collecting 0 information from its customer base, 0 information from its manufacturing plants on how to build these vehicles, 0 miles driven for electric vehicles as far as creating dependable powertrains, finding new efficiencies, improving designs, and that sort of thing. But on the other hand, you look at Ford, and yes, they're losing a bunch of money on these electric vehicles, but they're gaining huge amounts of knowledge, huge amounts of data, which I believe are going to be proved to be crucial down the road. So if you look at Ford in 2027 versus Stellantis or Ram, I'm just using them as an example, in 2027, I really think that the knowledge that Ford is getting right now, yes, it's costing them, but it's going to pay off huge for them in the long run. And I think that this new plant behind me, once it gets converted, they're going to be using that knowledge and that information. And companies like Stellantis, who have 0 electric vehicles right now, this is April 2023, Stellantis offers none. They have no information. Ford is going to be using what they're gaining, what they're garnering from the Lightning, from the Mach-E, from the E-Transit. They're going to be plugging that information and that data into this plant to find new efficiencies, to build a leaner, meaner Ford. Moving forward, I think that that's the right choice. Is it going to cost them money? Absolutely. But here's another point. They should be doing it right now. Why? Well, because they still have income, they still have profits to offset those losses from the gasoline vehicles that they're selling and the diesel vehicles, the internal combustion engine vehicles. Why would you wait until you're not selling combustion engine vehicles anymore, or combustion engine vehicles have become completely unprofitable, that you have no other revenue to offset the losses that you're taking from the learning curve, both manufacturing and sales, maintenance, service, parts, all that sort of thing, from this new technology, these new powertrains that you're going to have to transition to anyways. So again, it just leaves me scratching my head a little bit with the approach of some of these other brands. Toyota, it's Stellantis, it's even Honda to some extent. These companies, Subaru, they've got a little knockoff little EV that they got from Toyota, but it's not real. This is like nonsense. They're playing games. The reality is you got to go all in, throw away the gas, go all in. Yeah, they're going to still make but use up what you got. They're still going to make a few gas vehicles. Use up what you got. You got the old castings, the old tooling, the old designs. Great, sell those. But all the R&D, all the money, all the funds, the focus, the engineering, the talents need to be towards EV. Otherwise, these companies are staring down the barrel of imminent bankruptcy. The car I'm sitting in is absolutely light years ahead of anything else from Legacy as far as efficiency and range. 600 kilometers is nothing for Tesla now. You hop into a Model S and that's just, it's no big deal. Fast charging, a reliable charging network, a UI that works. You get into some of these other legacy technologies and they're just wildly dated. So they've got big mountains to climb. Ford, I believe, is doing the right thing. Again, I'm sitting here in Oakville at the manufacturing plant, and I can tell you that this is the best news that I've heard from any legacy brand in a very long time. Is Ford going to have difficulty? Absolutely. Massive difficulty. I think that the Ford of 5 years from now is going to be smaller. It's going to be leaner. It's going to be more agile. And so are their cars. They've already talked about building out simpler designs, simplifying the design structure, the engineering of the vehicles. And are they taking a page out of Tesla's playbook? Yes, they are. But that's what these companies are going to need to do. Cut the fat, get lean, get mean, and make the transition to electric vehicles. So that's kind of where I'm at on this whole thing. I think it's great news. You've got new jobs, new opportunities, 3,000 new jobs here locally. I mean, that's a big deal. So that's exciting to hear. Kudos to Ford. Jim Farley, as an Ontario resident, thank you, sir. We appreciate Ford spending the money and investing in Ontario. Definitely a good thing. So, kudos to these guys. They're doing what's tough, what's difficult, with their eye on the future. So I can only hope that these other brands step up. If not, they're done. And I can only feel for the guys that are in retail right now trying to sell these old slugs, these old 6.4 liter, I've already gone through them on the older videos, but the old 6.4 liter Grand Wagoneers, heck, their sales are down. Brand new vehicle, their sales are down 59% in Q1. Why is that? Because they're building dinosaurs that nobody wants. So these guys got to pull up their bootstraps, get on with the new technology, admit that they need to change, admit that Tesla is the leader, the absolute, unequivocal leader in EV, and maybe start copying just at a chance of survival. So anyways, guys, we'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm down here at Oakville. I wanted to bring to you in person. Excited to see what Ford's got coming down the line. So anyways, we'll catch you in the next video.